Welcome back again. You're still watching us here on The Daily Debate. I'm very much delighted to have joining me in the studio this evening Engineer Haitham Al-Kafrawy, a teaching assistant of structure analysis. Thank you very much for it's one of your titles, of course, but I know this is your favorite title, yes. So that's why we're using it here right now. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Well, it was a very significant, unexpected visit by Sheikh Zayed bin Nahyan to Egypt today. And let's talk a little bit about this visit and the agenda that was running this visit for Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, of course.
Yes, I guess now it's the time for us to search for our Arabian sake, because now as Egypt, we found our national sake and we are on the track. And now it's time to think about the regional strategy and our self-satisfaction as Arab, and to share our trials and our success with our brothers, and to try to reach the maximum limit with them. So I guess when Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed came to visit Egypt, he came just to prepare the two parts of one country, which is the UAE, the Emirates, and Egypt, for the political and the economical step. So I will take the first step, which is the most important step, which is the economical step. So we are going to prepare ourselves as we shared and we prepared the innovation that happened in the UAE last 20 years, and we think that the UAE is a part of Egypt, and they love us, and we know that. So to find a common ground to stand on is the next step. And to share our success is what we should do. So the first part is that we are going to find our economical sake. Let's see. The first thing is that we should share our human resources. Egypt is rich with the human resources and with the expertise. Engineers, doctors, professors. So how are we going to use that? UAE, they do need people to work with, so why don't we share it? This is the first thing. The second thing is, you do have materials, you do have the fundings, you do have the innovation ways as our brothers in the Emirates. And the United Emirates, they always think about the national sake, as President Sisi and the political leadership here in Egypt. So they are already standing on a common ground. And when we talk about economics, we always talk about how am I going to let people feel the prosperity. The main thing is that I'm trying to reach the maximum limit, and I'm going to push it more with my brother beside me. So the first part is that I'm going to find the economical solution to solve the political problems that may happen in the becoming 10, 20, maybe 50 years. So we are going to change the way that we're going to solve problems from the management crisis problem to the strategic problem on a regional way. I would like to say it that way. So we have a problem with terrorism, and we have to stop it. We have problems with the extreme thinking. We should stop it. So what is your expertise in this sector? We should exchange it. So it's a political win that we're going to use. So as I always say, we're searching for the win-win situation. So the win for us here in Egypt is that we are going to share, and it's the initiation for a united market, a united Arabian market that I'm not going to take anything from anybody else. I'm going to have the self-satisfaction. I have my brother standing beside me, and at the other side, we are protecting each other. We're having each other's back. We cannot. Now, I always like to say that, and I prepared this to say before I come on air, is we here in Egypt, we love Sheikh Zayed. He's a strategical person. He always look forward for that. We have here a lot of places named upon his name. Not because only he's a smart person. He created an innovation country, and he created a prosperous country. But also, he was thinking about the region, about the Arabian region. How are we all going to reach prosperity all together?
In a region that is very different than it was before, although the strong bilateral relations between Egypt and the UAE dates for centuries. And it's very important here to talk about the common grounds between Egypt and the UAE when it comes to the stability and security of the region. And from here I'm talking not just about the common grounds and mutual interests, but the vision and the strategy or strategic plan that will be implemented with regard to security and stability in the region in the future. The world has changed. Egypt's position is very different today. And we're seeing that very clear with how world leaders receive the Egyptian president Sisi on the official visits. We see that Egyptian voice is always being heard clearly, that Egypt has successful experiences, especially with regard to combating terrorism and stability and security. How is that changing the face of the region today?
It's giving it the taste of experience from outside. We always say that we need to face terrorism from the 90s. And the whole world was saying that it's not that much. It's not that extreme.
It wasn't a terminology or an international phenomena before 2011, 2001 rather.
Yes, this is, and from the 90s we said that we should face this. So now we are the experts, and now we know how to face it and how to end it. And this is we have to jump to it. The most win aspect that we're going to win as a political aspect from joining the UAE, the United Emirates. So now we are going to solve our economical problems. We are going to see the sake of our people, and we're going to give them a better life, better education, search for the right way for them to think, so you won't face any extreme ideas. When you reach this, you're not going to face any terrorism anytime. So the thing is, if you would like to face terrorism, should you face it with arms or should you face it with minds? And we know the answer from the very beginning. I'm not going to face terrorism with arms. I have to search for the source, the main source of terrorism, and I have to face it. I'm not going to let people live in poverty, and this is how His Excellency the President think. So I would like to solve the problem. I have to search for the root cause. The root cause is I don't want them to think that the extreme way of thinking is an option. No, I'm not going to, I'm going to solve this problem from the very beginning. I'm going to let them think in art, in space, in ambitious. I'm not going to give them any way or any extreme way of thinking that they may get on their minds.
That way you won't give a chance for manipulators to take use of this
and this
of an opportunity. Yes, exactly. And as you've correctly said, economic stability is always the key word. I mean, when people are economic and psychologically stable, there is no space for manipulators to do mind games or to brainwash communities, and particularly the youth. We'll talk more about, of course, the praising that came from Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed today about the Egyptian economy, with all the mega projects that have been extremely done in a very short time. But allow us to go to this short report. In Egypt's regional role, of course, is an important pillar for security and stability, as I've mentioned earlier, not just in Egypt, but in the Middle East as a whole. This following report tells us exactly how the foreign countries and international communities view the Egyptian crucial role in stability and security of the Middle East. The UK Middle East Minister has praised what he described as the pivotal role Egypt plays regionally, saying it represents a pillar for security and stability in the Middle East. James Cleverly, the UK Minister of State for the Middle East and North Africa, made his remarks during a meeting with Egypt's ambassador to London. A statement released by the Egyptian Foreign Ministry following the meeting said that both officials discussed the latest developments in a number of regional issues, including the crises in Libya and the Palestinian issue. The UK Minister of State for the Middle East and North Africa stated that London is looking forward to continuing coordination and consultation with Cairo as an important partner. According to the statement, the meeting also tackled the Egyptian-British relations, developments and efforts to strengthen them on various levels. The two sides welcomed the signing of the trade partnership deal, which is going to regulate the commercial relations between both countries when the UK's departure from the European Union takes full effect in January 2021. It's worth mentioning that on December 5th, Egypt and Britain signed a new association agreement that provides a platform meant to deepen trade and investment relations between the two countries after Brexit took place by securing free trade. The agreement expected to enter into force on the 1st of January after the United Kingdom ends the transition period to leave the European Union, ensuring the continuity of preferential access to both markets as it secures the same advantages that have been provided by the Egyptian-European Free Trade Agreement. Okay, welcome back again. We are still joined here at the Daily Debate, and I'm still joined with my guest, Engineer Haitham Al-Kafrawy, Teacher Assistant of Structure Analysis. Thank you once again. Now, before we went out to this report, we were talking about the importance of the economic stability.
Yes.
And we want to reflect back on Sheikh Nahyan's statements where he had congratulated the president, of course, on the leap of development and progress that has been taking place and changed rather the face of Egypt during the past 4 years now, whether we're talking about infrastructure, roads, mega projects, new cities, inaugurations, and so forth. Doing that at a very short period of time, and maybe the issue is here internally, people don't see it the way that people from outside Egypt would see on how Egypt is moving at very big steps, and how what's happening today is something that would start to reap in the future and not seen or felt instantly. How does that add to the relationship between Egypt and the UAE and to the investment opportunities between for the UAE in Egypt?
I will take the first part of the question, which is he thinks that after what we did, we can reach together the head of the economical stability. The second part of the question is why do the people outside Egypt think all the time that Egypt did better than the Egyptians themselves think about themselves? Because when you make yourself a sandwich, it won't taste that when somebody else do you a sandwich. It's the same aspect.
I never thought of that.
Yes, when you eat the sandwich by your hands, it won't taste like when somebody make you a sandwich. Maybe it's the same and maybe it's worse.
I would see mine would be better, but anyway, that's controversial. But yeah, I see where you're getting, but we're not talking about the majority, of course.
I understand, but because you're living in Egypt, you always feel you wake up every day, you see the same places.
The factors are different, definitely.
The rules now are different, and the places now, the infrastructure are different. The electricity is different. We are more organized.
We're more well administrated as well.
we changed our strategy. I said this before. We now have a strategy. Before this, we were a management crisis government. Now, we are a strategic government. We search for sustainability. So you have to put yourself a plan. Now we have a plan. And one of the things that you should, as Egyptian, you should respect about the government is that they are searching for the other generations, how they are going to lead. They are not sitting on the chair, doing their best, and that's it. No.
That's future vision, of course, for future generations. That's very interesting, and maybe that's why here, speaking of the future, and as I've mentioned earlier in my introduction, the Egyptian foreign policy has been doing an excellent job during the past 6 years now, and we're seeing that it's the international community and world that is very keen and eager to cooperate with Egypt on an economic level and depend and trust Egypt and would take the advice of Egypt on a political level. And that's very interesting because that's only naturally the position that Egypt should be in anyway. But the strength of the Egyptian ability and capability to face all the challenges despite the obstacles is very inspiring. The reason behind the international world powers to rush in to invest in Egypt, to cooperate with Egypt, to involve Egypt in almost every single meeting and world international gatherings, if we may say, what does this again reflect?
Reflect that you're a target-rich environment for all the investors now?
What does it reflect to terrorist organizations and the enemies of themselves, if I may say? You know, I always say you're the enemy of yourself. I wouldn't say you're an enemy of a person. Usually enemies are of themselves for prior
I would
reasons.
say, frankly speaking, okay, and it's my own, this is my personal point of view, is that they found themselves that they are in a really, really bad situation, and they cannot help themselves. And the only way to help themselves is that they have
to give up.
Not only to give up is not enough. They have to do more effort for us.
To have mercy on them.
Yes.
Yes, I knew that was coming out. I knew it. I knew. I still function after 12 hours of working. Now, we want to talk more about the Sustainable Development Agenda of 2030, and maybe one of the points that were discussed on the agenda is to invest in the field of energy. And we know that even the UAE is going to be a guest for the Mediterranean agreement that has been signed. And what does that? Yes, and how does that again reflect the strength of the relationship between the UAE and Egypt and the role that Egypt is playing in terms of energy, especially as Egypt is going towards being an energy hub in the Mediterranean region by nature. I mean, it's our discovery, right? So at the end of the day, it's our energy.
But the thing is, it's our energy and it's our technology at the same time. We are the first people to try this technology to reach that limit. I would take the first part of the question also. The relation between us and the UAE, the United Emirates. Sheikh Zayed started all the very beginning. Yes, he bet on the right horse. He searched. He had this strategic view that he knows that Egypt will always win. And this is why you can find even the people themselves, the artists, the singers, even here or in the United Emirates, they are all singing for Egypt. And we are treating the Emiratis people as they are Egyptian. So about the relationship between the United Emirates and Egypt, we need a whole hour to speak about it. The second part of the question, which is very, very important, is about the energy. We found a scientific, fast, effective solution for energy in 6 months, just 6 months. We searched for maximizing our national resources, as much as we could, and all the expertise at the same time. So when you are an investor, the investor may be a businessman or a country, see your sake in another hand, now the politics will change. Politics will all change. So what if you stand beside this country at the very beginning as the United Emirates? What if you're standing at the other side as other countries did? But now, this I would like to emphasize, the idea of we don't treat people as they treat us. Egypt will always be great, and we will always find the solution for the people that they need, because we are searching for the sake of the people, not we are searching for the sake of an agenda. We're not an agenda, the government itself and the people, they don't think about themselves and that's it. No, we have that empathy and that love for other people in the whole world. We don't have racial discrimination. We're all together.
We don't have refugees, and that is also something very important to talk about.
And all the Egyptians love Egypt. Even the foreigners that live here in Egypt, they love to stay, and they.
I'm glad you mentioned the issue of the people, because again, that's also something very significant. I think it's even dazzling the world on the fact that you see a nation that is very united, and you see a nation that is very supportive, and you see a nation that is very respectful to their army, and not to mention that we have the best army, ranked one of the best in top of the world.
Yes.
But not only that, very proud, but the fact is that, you know, you also have 100 million individual citizens who are also an army by themselves for this nation.
Yes,
so let's talk
Egypt,
about the irony of the relationship between the people, the leadership, the army, that is very much dazzling the world, that has made us all work hard and be patient to be able to, you know, sort of walk through this very dark tunnel that we have faced. 6 years of terrorism, terrorist organization running the country, devastating economic condition, a lot of things, really, seriously speaking.
Yes.
That also reflects on the nations of other people. And why that also I'm asking you that is because, as you spoke, we see not only leadership and governments and organizations praising Egypt, but the people of these countries also respecting very much and praising Egyptians.
Yes.
How does this whole thing balance out?
The equation have changed. The whole equation have changed. It's not about politics anymore. After the technology, after the communication, after the globalization, then the social media, then everybody has the right to speak up. Everybody has the right to say his opinion open widely. The equation have changed. And when the equation changed from how the government thinks to how the people like and would like to live, and after the people of the whole world become open to each other, now the core of the people and the core of the governments and the core of the agendas became so clear. The difference between us here in Egypt and the other countries, with all due respect, is that when we have to face something, we will face it all together. And we have no fear to face anything. And we can work in a team, effective team. I'm not talking about only the army, the police, the institutions. I'm speaking even about the Egyptian people at the street. This is how
we see that. We see that in movies even all the time, and they think we take it as a lovely joke, but we're always interested to be all together there, to share the moment of happiness, to share the moment of sadness, and to support each other. I mean, I believe if I walk the street and just scream, I'm going to be sure that there'll be more than 100 citizens standing and supporting me for that. Yes. On this note, unfortunately, our time ran out very fast. Thank you so much. I know that you had the struggle to get here on time. Bless you. Thank you very much, Engineer Haitham Al-Kafrawy, Teacher Assistant of Structure Analysis, for this visit, if I may say, as well to the studio. Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of our episode of The Daily Debate this Wednesday. I'm Yasmin Bakir signing off. Thank you for watching.